There are several people hoping to be your next governor. Amongst them is Mr. Bill Waller. He joins us now. Thank you for being here.
Great to be here, Terry.
Our first question for you, as governor, what do you plan to do?
I've got some big issues that I think we need to address in the state. The first is our roads and bridges. We really have a crisis. We've got $1 billion of just in bridges. That's no overlay. That's no maintenance. All they can do now is try to preserve what they have. We've got some coverage issues with some needs. For instance, completing the access road from the port at Gulfport to I-10. So we need something big. It's 1987 was the last comprehensive road program that we had, and that's 32 years ago. And Mississippi has got to step up to the plate. Tourism is too important. Our industry is too important. Industrial development, the first thing they look for is roads and infrastructure. We've got too many closed bridges. We've got 7 state highways with closed bridges. We've got another 283 that are posted, have weight limits on them. We've got another 1,900 that need repairs right now. So we've got to have something that is relevant and something that will address the needs of Mississippi right now.
Okay. And what's something that sets you apart from the other candidates, Democratic and Republican?
I've got fairly deep experience. I've got 20 years in the private sector is in the practice of law. I've got 21 years on the Mississippi Supreme Court. The last 10 as Chief Justice. Now, the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court is the senior executive officer of a branch of government. And in that position, I have worked with rules changes to accommodate the court structure, with legislative changes. I've worked with the Speaker, with the Lieutenant Governor, with the members of the House, the Senate, the Governor. We've had some very progressive legislation bringing electronic filing to our courts, pay realignments, modifications, changes to indigent appeals. So we've made the system fair, efficient, and independent, and try to promote that. I've also have 30 years experience in the National Guard, where I have been involved in numerous mobilizations of our troops literally around the globe. I've been involved with civil disturbance, civil emergencies, so I have firsthand knowledge, and I'm prepared to step in immediately as Commander-in-Chief of the Mississippi Military Forces. And so for that reason, my experience mix is different from anyone else in the race, Republican or Democrat, and I think that prepares me in a unique way for the position of Governor of Mississippi.
What is one of the biggest problems that you think Mississippi is facing, and also how do you plan to solve it?
Well, we have a negative population trend. We've lost population last 3 or 4 years, and so I need to address this, and there's I have basically 3 platforms to address that. One is I already mentioned with the infrastructure. I think that some immediate work on our highways and bridges not only would make Mississippi more attractive to industries, for tourism, but it also circulate money in the economy. Almost close to dollar for dollar of new money for highways goes into the roads. It doesn't go into administrative costs, so that would be a good shot in the arm. Next, education. We've got 1,000 teacher vacancies right now. Our pay, even with the pay raise, we're still the lowest in the Southeast, so we need to move every year to that, and what that would do, we need to attract and retain teachers. But I'm also thinking about our sons and our daughters that want to be teachers, but the pay is not competitive, and so we've got to stop this drain to Arkansas and Louisiana and Tennessee and Alabama. Our children, our best and brightest, need to be able to stay here at a competitive pay. And obviously, it's 90% of education provided in public education. That's got to be the center of what we do, the center of what we think about. I'd like to see some modifications. I'd like to see a vocational track in high school. Right now, it's totally focused on an academic degree in key subject areas such as in math and social sciences, biology, and English and history, and that's fine, but a person that wants to be a diesel mechanic doesn't need algebra necessarily. They need math. So I think there should be a different track. We shouldn't be forcing everyone one size fits all, and I would like to see drilling down even the 10th and 9th grade with those that perhaps don't want to go to college and want to pursue jobs right out of high school. And I've seen some very innovative programs, and I think if we can keep the interest up, I think there'd be less discipline problems in school, less problems with the truancy and dropouts. If we can jobs, and this is something else. If we can find good jobs out of high school, then that's going to help retain people. The third is health care. We've got 31 hospitals on the danger list right now. We've already had 4 either close, file bankruptcy, or sell for pennies on the dollar. And I'm a right-to-life conservative, and access to health care is a right-to-life issue. We need to have Medicaid reform like Governor Pence did in Indiana, like Arkansas, Louisiana has done. We have $1 billion at stake. If we can do it budget neutral without cost to the taxpayer, then we have to do it. We've got 60,000 employees working at this. This is another item. This would be jobs. This would be healthy hospitals. This would, part of the reform would be a wellness track for people, so that the emergency room is no longer their primary care physician. And so we would take part-time people and have a health track and hopefully put them into the regular economy. And so the combination of these, I think, would produce an immediate effect on our economy, give people hope. That I think we could reverse the trends in the population exits. For instance, Louisiana and Arkansas have both had Medicaid reform. They both have addressed teacher situations. They both have had road programs, and the population increase in Louisiana versus ours is 7 times. They had a budget surplus. Arkansas is 5 times what Mississippi has experienced, and Arkansas had a $200 million budget surplus. So I think that a healthy Mississippi is a healthy Mississippi economically, and I think we've got to be bold. We've got to be aggressive. People have to have hope in the future that their sons and daughters can stay here and have good jobs, and that people want to come here and visit, and we can have some excitement. That's what I'd like to see. I'd like to see a Mississippi with promise for today and tomorrow.
Okay. And lastly, is there any message that you have for Mississippi voters?
Well, Bill Waller is qualified by virtue of my government service, my military service, my experience in the private sector, and I'm ready to immediately assume the reins of being governor and work with the people of Mississippi in moving us forward.
All right, Mr. Waller, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
We appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Terrence.